YouTube, what's up, man? Again, I'm back again with another deck profile for you. It's your boy DM Era, and here I am. And this time, I'm showcasing Shinobirds. For those of you that follow my channel for a while, you all know that I'm a fan of rogue decks, lower tier decks, stun decks, and just yeah, a lot of lower tier rogue decks because I feel like meta decks are easy. They just pretty much copy and paste. Um, and everybody just do the same thing. But if I can come up with a deck that can destroy the meta or make meta players look silly off of a lower tier roguish style type deck, then I'm definitely a fan of it. And yes, and this is what I've come up with. I've been in the lab for the past 2 3 weeks trying to come up with this build, and I feel like this build is pretty strong. I feel like this build is very cheeky, but it's very viable. It's consistent, and you can keep it going. So, like I said, I present to you my Shinobird Stun deck. Okay, and at the end of the video, we'll do some test hands, and I'll show you what your opening hand can look like with this deck when we face against the meta and how to counteract certain plays. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. So, first things first, we're going to go into our ritual monsters. We got 3 copies of Shino Baron Peacock. Oh, I'm sorry, hold on. Whoops. Two copies. 2 copies of Shino Baron Peacock. Okay. This guy right here states that once he hits the field, once you ritual summon him, you can automatically special summon a spirit monster from the hand. And then once he hits the field, you get to spin back 3 monsters that your opponent controls, non-targeting, non-destructing, and spin them back to the deck. And the thing about it is that this is not a once per turn. So if one gets negated and you have another one, then you activate that and do the same thing all over again. So that's crazy right there, man. That's crazy. Um, Next, we have 2 copies of Shino Baroness Peacock. This is the one that spins back row up to 3 back row cards, and then you get a special summon a spirit monster from the deck. Okay, same concept. Doesn't target, doesn't destroy. It sends them back to the deck, shuffles the deck up, clears the field, and then let's say if she gets negated, you activate the second one, do the same thing. And you also special summon, like I said, a spirit monster from the deck. She's also good because when at the end of the turn, excuse me, her and him, they leave tokens when they leave the field. So they leave 2 Shino Baron tokens so that you can ritual summon again for those 2. So those 2 are my boss monsters. Then I have the one Saravis, the Ancient and the Ascended. I love this hand trap. This is a perfect hand trap to counter Imperm. So when you're bringing out your Shino Baroness or your Shino Baron, and your opponent tries to drop Imperm or any card to try to target these guys, you can just pitch him. And since combat is at 1, the chance of them having combat is slim to none. They cannot affect this, and you can keep the plays going. So we have a way to search him out. But yes, Shino Baroness and Shino Baron is Ascended are really good in this build. So let's start with first. Next, our main target for our Shino Birds are Amami Wado. I am a huge fan of Amami Wado. I've been a huge fan of Amami Wado since I came back to the game. For the fact that nobody can activate monster effects unless there's a spirit monster in the field, and we know your opponent's not gonna have a spirit monster. Like, come on, dude. Like, really? This card's crazy. I try to work this deck in a pure stun with just him, Wild Shinobirds, and it's doable. It's just hard because I can't keep him on the field, with the exception of Mystic Mind. But outside of that, man, like they get to special summon him, ignoring his summoning conditions, and just keep him on the field for free. That's awesome, man. Like that makes it so much easier to play him. So much easier to play him. So if you're tired of the meta guys and you're tired of people activating 20,000 effects in one turn, take a look at Amani Waddle, please. That's my favorite. Next, we play 2 vanilla blue eyes. Okay, because our Shinobirds are level 8s, we are running ARA, and just to have a level 8 in our hand plus a beat stick, so that we can easily OTK our opponent. I've practiced this deck without blue eyes and other methods, and I've seen that I couldn't really get the job done. I couldn't really get the whole OTK aspect in there until I put blue eyes in there, good old blue eyes, and it makes it so much better. You can easily OTK your opponent going second. All right. Next, of course, we have to run our incantations. Okay, we got 2 candles. This is the one that if you have a ritual spell in hand, you can activate it to bring out Talismandra to search for, speaking which, Talismandra. So these 2 go hand in hand. They're like tag team partners. He brings him out to search for a ritual. I think this was what, a ritual monster. Yep, you can add a ritual monster. You have to reveal a ritual spell to activate this one. This one is reveal a ritual monster, summon him to act to search for a ritual spell. So they work hand in hand together. So tag teams, that's what I'm calling. Those are tag team champions right there. All right. Then of course we want the one book zone and the one pencil plume. Okay. One of them just brings the ritual monster from the graveyard back to hand, and one brings the ritual spell from the graveyard to the hand. All right, so I think this one is you bring a ritual monster from the graveyard to the hand, and this one is a ritual spell from the graveyard to the hand. So this just helps you recycle your Shinobirds and your ritual spells. So your ritual spells and ritual monsters in the graveyard helps you to recycle them if they're there. Next, of course, our hand traps. We run 2 Ash, uh, 2 DD Crow, and of course 2 Phantasme. Again, this is a go second deck, guys, so just bear with me, okay? Ash, versatile, any deck. DD Crow, like I said, I hate Smoke Grenade. I wish Konami would have banned that card, but whatever. But DD Crow is permanently for Smoke Grenade, and any other problematic card that goes to the graveyard before it activates its effect, you can DD Crow it off the field so it can't resolve. So keep that open. You can switch this out for something else, but this was my personal choice, guys, okay? Keep that in mind. Um, Also, too, the 2 Phantasmes. I love Phantasme because it also protects your monsters from being targeted, with the exception of a mono. If a mono's on the field, you can't activate Phantasme's effect to negate a card that targets your monsters. So just keep that in mind. But if you have Phantasme, that A lets you fix your hand, B protects your Shinobirds and any other monsters from targeting effects, and it's 2400 body, pretty good in this build. All right, so that's our hand trap lineup. Okay, and that's it for our monsters. So now let's get into our spells. Of course, in this build, it's easy to run Pot of Extravagance because we barely go into the extra deck if we have to, but we're not really doing that. All right. So 3 Extravagance for a little draw power there. Also, of course, we're running the 3 pre-prep rights. And keep in mind, this doesn't conflict with Extravagance. Extravagance says draw, these cards add. So you can draw and add at the same time. That's just more consistency. That's more power right there. So I'm a huge fan of that. So yes, more consistency, more draw power. And then of course we run the 2 Super Poly. Again, it's a go second deck. So if you're going second and your opponent sets up a stupid board, you can Super Poly their board. Can't be negated. Got that. And then our ritual spells, we're running 3 Shinobird's Calling, and then we run the 1 ARA for the Blue Eyes. Okay, so we have 4 ritual spells in the deck. The thing about Shinobird's Calling though is really good is the fact that you can add to your hand a ritual you can ritual summon any Shinobird, but you can use spirit monsters in the grave to ritual summon too. So let's say your Shinobird gets popped into the graveyard. You can use the one that's in the graveyard as fodder, banish it off to ritual summon your other. Or if you have 2 monos in grave, you can do that too. And you can banish it from the grave to still ritual summon as well. Right? So I like that. Oh, also too, what I'm about to say. What was it? So yeah. So with pre-prep, you can also add a ritual monster from your grave that's listed on that. So if you have a Shinobird or Shinobird in the grave, you can add that if you add the ritual spell from your deck to your hand too. So if you have a ritual monster that's in your grave, you can search that so you don't have to search it from your deck. So I think that's awesome. That's awesome too. Next, I run the 1 Preparation of Rights, and then I run the 1 Shinobird Power Spot. It's a lot. This card is very slept on. People don't really pay attention to it, but this one lets you search for Saravis and a ritual spell that's in your grave if you have it in your grave. You just may want to work at how you play it, okay? But you can search for your Imperm Protector, and this one lets you, this increases the attack power of all your spirit monsters by 500. And every time your Shinobird or Shinobaron or Shinobaroness returns back to the hand, you get to add a spirit monster from your deck to your hand. So you can add a mono, you can add or a ritual spell like Shinobird Power Spot. One of them is really good in this deck, really good. Let's see. Also, too, we got our traps. We're running 3 Imperm. And then one Red Reboot. So the reason why I chose Red Reboot, again, like I said, to negate Imperm and negate any other problematic trap, but it also works well with Shino Baroness, because with Shino Baroness, right, let's say I bring out Shinobird. If I bring out Shinobird, okay, after I activate Red Reboot, your opponent gets the option to set another trap. If your opponent sets another trap, that's perfect. That's fine because they have to reveal it. So they reveal it, they set it, then you activate and resolve her effect. Once her effect is resolved, you send that card back too. So you can send that card back in any other card. Your opponent can't activate any more traps. You bring her out with a model from the deck. And then if you have blue eyes or if their opponent's having or if their opponent's life points is low, you just OTK for game. Okay? That's why I love this card because it just negates any other problematic traps. So Red Reboot works well in this deck. And yeah, it's it's crazy, y'all. This deck is crazy. Like the way that this deck can easily break your opponent's board is stupid. So let's get into the extra deck. Mostly said the extra deck is just mostly for fodder for extravagance, but we'll get into it. So a couple cards that I play. Like I say, I play Solitary Almirage, Cross Sheep. Like I said, Cross Sheep is probably the only card we may go into with a mono and a token. We can't use incantations, but maybe a mono and a token. Make him ritual summon, draw two, fix your hand. Like that's the only card I may go into. Super Poly targets, of course, run 3 Stunning Venoms, 2 Dragosopelius, 3 Duplexer Chimera for Cyberse. I run the 1 Last Warrior of Another Dimension. All right. 1 Mud Dragon Swamp, 1 World Challenge Guard Dragon Almaduke, Salamander Violet Chimera, and of course Raid Raptor Ultimate Falcon. Alright, so like I said, most of these cards are just fodder for extravagance. That's all. So let's get into the extra deck. So somebody once asked me, they said, hey man, when I was building this build, they said, this is a good go second deck, but what are you going to do about going first? And I said, you know what? That's great. I'm glad that you asked that. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So for our side deck for this deck, this is a go second deck. For our side deck, we run 1, there can be only 1. All right, this deck does not get hurt by there can only be 1 because yeah, they're all spirits, but they're different types. So there's Winged Beast, we have Rock. So if I have one or the other, and because they go back to the field, it doesn't get unaffected by there can be only 1. But it hurts the opponent. So I can easily ritual some of my cards back and forth, and plus I got a blue eyes, and I got my incantations are all different types. They're not the same type. So there can be only 1. Really helps me out a lot. Soul Drain. I don't activate graveyard effects, but my opponent does. So again, Floodgate Central right here, baby. Floodgate Central. Of course, and then always we got Waken the Dragon because heavy Harpy's Feather Storm is at 1, and Lightning Storm. This is a deck that goes second. That if your opponent decides to pop your back row, if I'm going first, that's on them because they're gonna walk into Waken the Dragon, and this deck can really pull it off. All right. Also, I run the 1 heavy Stone Duster. Going second, you never know, maybe problematic back row. On the end of my opponent's turn, just activate Heavy Stone Duster and then take on the back row. Multiple copies. I run 2 copies of Crackdown. I think Crackdown would be good in this to steal your opponent's monsters. A card that I wanted to play for a long time, guys. Network Trap Hole. I've been wanting to play this card forever. Okay. This card says that when your opponent special summons a monster from the main deck or graveyard, banish it face down. Now, there's a lot of combo decks out here that love banishing their cards off from, or love special summoning their cards from the main deck to extend or from the graveyard. As soon as they do that, you flip that down and you interrupt their combo plays. This card is awesome. I've always wanted to play this card for a long time. I just never got a chance to actually play it. So, yeah. Then next we come 3 copies of Urgent Ritual Art. This card is pretty much lets me ritual summon my opponent's turn. I get a banish ritual spell out of my hand, and then use that effect for this card's effect, and then ritual summon, and then spin their cards back before the end of their turn so I can disrupt their combo. So this may be the main card I may side deck into going first, but that's just it. And of course, we run the 2 Strike and the 2 Judgment for going first, just to interrupt our opponent. But if our opponent ever makes go first, this is what we got to work with. Okay? This is our tool. So if you guys have any other options or anything different that you would like to see, just let me know, okay? Or if you have any other options for my side deck, please do not hesitate to comment in the comment section. Again, guys, just take a moment to Like, comment, share, subscribe to my channel. I do videos like these all the time. I always like to think about the little guy when I'm making these videos because, like I said, it's easy to make meta decks. It's just hard to beat the meta with lower tier roguish style decks or um, stun decks, troll decks, or roll decks or whatever. I'm no hard leg Joe, but I like to work for the little guys. This deck is primarily cheap. If you do a hand trap to do extravagance, I mean extravagance is the most expensive card in the deck. Maybe Imperm, not 100% sure. But this deck is primarily cheap, it's fun, and it can destroy the meta. So just keep that in mind, guys. Okay. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into our first test hand right here. All right. So going second, keep in mind it's a go second deck. So let's see what we open up with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So that's our opening hand going second. Okay. You all see what we have. All right. We got Super Poly, Clear the Board, Saravis, Extravagance, Pre-Prep, and we got Shino Baroness to pop to blow back roll away and special mono from the hand. That's crazy right there. That's crazy. So, draw for turn, right? Go second. Oh, snap, look at that. Talus Manager. All right. So, let's get into our plays. So, we had to go, okay, let's say opponent set up the board. All right. Obviously, we'll go. Let's see if they bait out the extravagance. That's fine. If they don't, whatever. Let's say they don't. Okay. Let's say they don't bait out the extravagance. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. If they don't bait out the extravagance, we get the extravagance, right? 1, 2. Look at that. Look at that. That is crazy. Okay. So now we have our own empire. Okay. So we can make our move, right? So we'll go. All right. If we wanted to clear up on this board, we got incantations. We got everything to OTK our opponent, right? So we got that. Okay. So let's say we do. You know what? Let's go. Let's go. Super Pilot. We go Super Pilot. All right. We will send. Let's send Talents Manager. Okay. And let's say they got whatever. Okay. We're going to Predator Planet Dragon with the Paleo. Okay. One Fusion Monster, one Dark Monster. Let's say they had Dragoon or whatever. I don't know. So we clear their Dragoon. Okay. With the Paleo. All right. We clear their Dragoon and their Vertex. Let's say they clear that. They had that. We clear that off. Okay. So once we clear that off, we say, okay, fine, we're good. All right. Then we'll go pre-prep. Okay. Pre-prep. So we'll add Shino Baron, and we'll add, of course, the ritual spell. Got it. And again, like I said, this deck can easily break boards. Easily. It's no problem for this deck to break boards. That's why I love this deck so much. All right. So now we'll go there. And then after we do that, we'll probably go, if they have background, that's what I like to do. So we'll go here. Shinobird's Calling, right? Send him off. Excuse my cat, y'all. Please excuse my cat. All right. And then we'll go Shino Baroness. Okay. Shino Baroness effect activate to spin back 3, 2, 3. Okay. And let's say they have Imperm set. Let's say they have Imperm. Most of the time they have Imperm set. Or even if they don't have 3, keep in mind the card says up to 3. So you can do 3, you can do 2, you can do 1. So we try to spin it back. Let's say they flip over Imperm. Flip over Imperm, guess what? Saravis. Saravis to negate the Imperm. So make our effect go through. So we'll go through. Spin it back. Guess what? Special summon. Excuse me. Special summon mono from the deck. Okay. There's a mono. Okay. Special summon mono from the deck. And more likely, like I said, then we just set our Imperm. We already have a negate in hand. So we set our Imperm, and then we attack. Okay. So we hit him for 19, 25, 27. All right. If I had to do the math, I'm sure that's not game, but let's see where that puts us at. 19, 5, 27. Okay, that puts him at 7,100. Okay, 7,100 damage. All right, so they're almost done at that moment. Okay, so then at the end of your turn, you leave on your turn, so this bounce back to your hand. Then you get 2 tokens. All right, so then you got a B stick, you got a field negator, you wipe their field, and you have a negate, and then you say your turn. More than likely, there's nothing your opponent can do. With 900 life points left, unless they have evenly matched or something silly like that, there's nothing else that they really can do. But that's just the power. And then, like I said, this is our hand right here. And then, like I said, this is our hand. And since we have, if this gets destroyed, we have a follow play with Pencil Plume. So we have Ritual Spell, we do this, bring out Candle, we do it all over again. Okay. And that's just the power of Shinobirds in 2020 that I'm a fan of. And yeah, like I said, Shinobirds can easily break boards. This deck is crazy. It can set up. I'm a huge fan of it. And like I said, guys, please, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope the test hand was really good for you guys. Please like, comment, subscribe. And as always, thank you for following my channel. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, watching my channel. I really appreciate you guys. Again, have a good day. Be safe out there. Keep your mask on at all times. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell your friends, family members. And like I said, have a good day. Deuces.